Everybody, Man of Steven here, counting down my top 25 comic movies of all time in release order. This is number 4 and it's 2000's X-Men. Now, I saw this film when it first came out and I was a huge fan of the cartoon growing up. So I was super excited when this film came out. Now, while it wasn't like the cartoon, I still loved it. I think the casting of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, as you will know yourselves, is one of the most iconic superhero castings of all time. Maybe even the modern superhero casting, like the most iconic in that respect. He's up there with Christopher Reeve as Superman, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, where he just is that character. And I feel sorry for the next guy who has to take that role on, but that's neither here nor there. But this film, it brought the superhero movie back in a way. But I suppose Blade did, which didn't quite make my list, but is probably teetering in the 30 if I did top 30. But yeah, it introduces to what the modern superhero could be. You know, it's a more grounded version of it. And I think it was exactly what was needed at the time. People look back on these films now and kind of almost say, oh, they were shying away from the comic book movie. But that's what they had to do then, because comic movies were in the trash because of Batman and Robin in 97. So they had to take it to that level, which is why you then later got things like Smallville. I know Spider-Man kind of brought that back, but even Spider-Man itself, which is on my list, just spoilers. That was a very grounded approach with sort of that superhero spectacle as part of it. But yeah, this X-Men film is so good, and you kind of know what you're getting off for when you start off at the beginning with Magneto, and it's kind of set in World War II. What I'm not going to say certain words in it because if I'll get banned video or whatever, but it kind of sets you the tone for the film, and you kind of go through the story. You almost follow Magneto through the story, like he's kind of like your oracle throughout the entire thing, and you kind of follow him because the whole thing revolves around his plan and what he wants to do with Rogue. But Rogue's probably one of my complaints about the film, in that she's not like the cartoon version, but I think the idea maybe originally was to evolve her into that, and it never quite happen. But still, it's pretty good story around her, because she has to be that way for the story to make sense. And like I say, when she meets Wolverine, that's when the story really kicks into gear. But yeah, just a great introduction to characters, and a film that isn't on my list, X2, which you'll probably be like, sacrilege. I think X-Men 2 has all the problems. It's too long. It sort of has a big action scene at the start and then doesn't go anywhere. And I think that's a problem with Bryan Singer movies, and it happened with Superman Returns, which also isn't on my list. But the first X-Men, because it was clocked in at around 2 hours, it doesn't feel overly long, and it's kind of a nice pace for that kind of introductory version of the X-Men. So yeah, great film for me. One of my favourites still. I saw it twice back in the day. So yep, so that is my number 4, and coming soon will be my number 5. Until then, keep being super.